to see all that I can be. Moving on the block. Still the past part
Yes.
of me.
We doing it. We
Woo!
made it.
We made it. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh boy, Aliyah, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Move Beyond the Block. Y'all, if y'all knew how much work we just did to get this
Yeah.
episode recorded is insane.
Yeah.
But I'm a person who believes strongly, like the universe, things don't just flow easily like that. When something like this is happening, it's just your just to build up that endurance and that tenacity muscle, like to see it through, because what's on the other side is going to be amazing. And I know it's going to be amazing because the person I have with me today is a phenomenal person. Are you hot?
I'm not hot.
Okay.
I am the cold natured.
Okay, me too. I normally am, but perimenopause has turned me all every which way but loose. So this young lady, you all, I met last spring. She was helping with the technical, she was doing providing technical assistance for a grant. And the grant was around our work that we were doing with community garden and urban gardening. And she had all these ideas. And I was like, wow, never even considered those things. And I don't want to be ageist, but for her age, I was like, this is what I hope for. Like, this is the inspiration, the generation that we need with these new ideas, this innovative thought, and really this concern and care for justice and environmental justice. And who I have before me is none other than an environmentalist warrior. And I'm so excited to share who she is with you all. So Aliyah Collins, sitting to my left, is a scholar, activist, organizer from Jackson, Tennessee. She is a graduate of Fisk University and Harvard Divinity School. Aliyah is also the founder of the EcoHealing Project that sheds light on the impact of climate disasters on historically Black colleges and universities by helping HBCUs build campus gardens to improve the overall mental health of campus communities. And that work is also deeper than that as well. And you have a story and the impetus of why you started that, which
Right.
I can't wait to share with our audience. She's also worked in communities in Nashville, and we are blessed to have her here in Chicago and Boston around connecting environmental justice to spiritual care. She currently resides here in Chicago, thank you, and with a focus on environmental justice and economic development. She serves as the, I don't know, are you still with the Sustainable Square Mile?
I am not.
Okay,
with the
so-
Sustainable Square
but
Mile.
you are
But that
still
is
doing
a
work.
idea that's like,
That was your
Right,
came
yeah.
from your brainchild.
Well, that was the organization. That was their project. But the idea is like something that a lot of people in different cities are trying to replicate.
Okay. And you helped lead that work, right?
Yeah.
And so I know when you came for our girls, I invited you to lead a workshop, and the workshop was so powerful. And I love the connection that we had to Hazel Johnson, who was an environmental activist here in Chicago. And then you also, during our Day of the Girl, you led the girls in an eco city. Was it called?
Yeah, it was, I can't remember what I called it, but we built the city.
Built a city,
Yeah.
and the girls had and used technology to do it. It was amazing. Her brain is
cool.
amazing. So I'm just ready to dive in and to let the people know who exactly you are. Let's first start with the conversation around eco-healing and that incident, or I don't know if it was the circumstances that led you into environmental justice and focusing on your school campuses.
Yeah, so it just something that kind of just happened, I guess. It wasn't something I necessarily was like wanting to do. My senior year of college, we had like a really bad tornado that came through. I think it was like, I can't remember what do you call it, the degree or whatever, how strong it
Category.
was, the category. But it was high category. And I just remember during that time, like we had lost, this was like maybe like a week before COVID. So we had lost power. We had to like relocate to another area. And it was just a tough time. And I remember that I was also working and in school. So it was just like working, come back to school, no power, no food. Like churches was like organizing in different groups, so organizing to come like make sure students had what they needed. I was just like, man, this is kind of stressful. So I just kept that in my head. And then when I got an opportunity to like actually do a climate project with a brand called Tom's Maine, and I just started to think about like, what do all of the different campuses need? So my sister went to Jackson State, and so she's very prone to like environmental issues because they had the huge water issue down there in Jackson, Mississippi, and will always be just telling me about the different water issues, like not having water,
No
and
clean
just
water.
not having clean water. Because their infrastructure is so divested in. So that, and then my brother went to Morehouse. So he was just saying, yeah, there was really nothing around like environmental justice when I was at school. So I was like, it seemed like it's a gap here. So I was just like, okay, like I want the EcoHealing project to really focus on like environmental justice and like bring students more into the work, because a lot of us do experience a lot of like environmental justice issues when you're in school. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because I also think about Katrina and I think about what happened there. And I don't know if, would you say that we don't tend to think about environmental justice issues as everyday? We don't see the connection to our everyday, and we more so think of it as in catastrophic. So if something catastrophic happened, then we'll say, oh, that's climate, that's the environment, that's the environment. But do you think that there needs to be more connection to everyday things, like you said, drinking water? And what are the everyday connections we need to make?
There's so many, and it's really, I feel like I've even after college and even after grad school, I've learned like how much the environment is literally connected to every single thing that we do. Your ability to get to a grocery store, your ability to afford what's in the grocery store is a problem. It's an issue. Another issue for me is like, I don't understand why. Okay, so you can't get to the grocery store. We also can't afford healthy food, and then they have the grocery stores are policed, and it's just like a whole thing. Now going to the grocery store is like a whole kind of hostile. It's just horrible. Stuff like that. People don't think about that as an environmental justice issue, but it is an environmental justice issue. All the way to asthma. I have a lot of friends who have asthma, really severe. They don't know why, never really connected it to their environment. So it's things like that. It can be anything from noise pollution. Back with the organization I was working with, there was a man that was really trying to get us to address can't remember the name of the train company that's here in Chicago.
Northern Railroad?
Yeah, Norfolk Southern. And just the noise pollution and just how it was just like what it was doing to people's mental health. Things like that. Light, not enough lighting, just not having access to energy, can't afford your energy bills. So all of these different things are
the constant construction in communities and the asbestos and the dust and all of those things. Like you mentioned, asthma. That's something that has been in my family. My grandmother passed away from an asthma attack. Eczema, like all of those are strongly connected. I also think of like when we just talk about violence in our community, if we could connect the exposure to lead, to a lot of what our young people are experiencing and it being exposed to, that does have an impact on behavior, right? I don't think we make those connections.
Yeah. People are making like a lot of those, especially like those science type of connections of like lead and then like urban heat areas, heat islands, and how those are like a lot of times spots where you see a lot of like community violence. And actually one of my mentors was talking to me about this. And kind of asking like, what is the connection between the environment and violence? Because at FISC, like maybe like 2 weeks ago, there was a student that was shot in the head in a road rage incident, just randomly. And he was just like, if a student wanted to do an environmental issue, I don't even think they'd be in the headspace. Everybody's just thinking about this specific incident. So it's like, what would be the connection? But like, how can environmental justice play a role here? And I think that honestly, also access to just like green space, safe spaces, I say, and like having places where we can heal and grieve and, maybe plant trees and in honor of certain people or when people pass. I think that the environment is a great way to like heal. That's kind of why, another way why I started the project was like, how do we use like the process of nature and plants and growing to like really kind of resemble just look at the connection between that and our life and use that as a way to heal. And so, yeah, I think it's so many different ways that it's connected.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it is your project and your organization is called EcoHealing, because healing is a big part of that. And I don't see why there isn't a direct connection, why people don't make it right away. When you think about green spaces and you think about cortisol and dopamine and all of these different things, we know that nature makes, nature is very, very healing, it's restorative, it's reparative. So I'm not sure why we don't see that in places where there isn't a lot of green space, in spaces where there is a lot of concrete, the concrete jungle, if you will, how much violence, and maybe not violence, but depression and also anxiety, a lot of those feelings. And unfortunately, again, it's not like something that people think right away. They only think of climate. In fact, I was in an organizing meeting and I was saying, like, we need to really focus on the climate. Like, right now, every city in this country is experiencing, or has in the last couple of years, some catastrophic climate issue, right?
And it's getting worse.
And it's getting worse. Just the last time it rained in Chicago in January,
it flooded.
It flooded in 71 neighborhoods, right? And my basement flooded earlier in the summertime, and it was just about to flood. My husband and I went out and started cleaning the sewers, but all around the streets over, like where we could see like that, it was flooding. And so they're reporting that it was 71. We know coming up, this will be after you all see this, but coming up this weekend, the whole northeast coast of the country is liable to be hit with a lot of winter storms. That's ice.
Down south too. They're like expecting.
Yeah. And I remember last winter, the snow levels in Atlanta were crazy. Like there were actually blizzards in Atlanta of all places. And so I don't know if we are clear that, climate change is real and how it impacts especially the vulnerable, poor people. Like you said, when you think about access to transportation, access to the things that you'll need to survive. So hopefully people actually
start to make those connections.
Yeah, make those connections.
Because I think a lot of times we see us and we see the environment as like separate.
And isn't that weird that we are indigenous people and our ancestors were of and about the earth and nature, and we are so far, like that's the furthest thing away. Like people think of that and they're like, I think more people are coming back to farming and to agriculture and to livestock and that sort of thing. But the propaganda really had us believing like if you're doing farming or anything like that, we wanted to be far away from that because of slavery. You know, that would be beneath us.
It's considered like, like low skill work. It's actually not low skill.
It is not low skill.
Not low skill.
Not even to water plants is low skill.
Yeah, no, it's a real relationship. Like you really have to, it's kind of like having kids, I guess. I don't have kids, but it's kind of like that. You kind of have to,
nurture.
If they can't talk to you, you kind of have to build a relationship, understand the signs and be observant. So yeah, we definitely need to get out of that model of like, the earth is supposed to serve us and we're not supposed to do nothing.
So I want you to share a little bit of the ideas. So when we were doing the technical capacity, you were helping with technical assistance for our grant. You were like, so what do you think about, I think you were saying like the runoff water just tell people like, what are some of the kind of like tactics, strategies, little things they can do to be more considerate of the environment and to be more self-sustaining?
Yeah, that's a good question because it's also something that
I hope so.
Using what we have more, and just like really being creative about reusing things. I think a lot of times the struggle is sometimes people want to like, okay, I want to be like more sustainable. I want to do environmental justice, but what can I do? What's like steps can I take? Especially if I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of knowledge. I don't have a lot of resources. Just, I guess, simple recycling, just reusing things, like being innovative when you reuse things. I've even, like, something I've tried to do, especially in the summertime, is like composting. I like get rid of a lot of food that I just don't use. And I'm so shocked to know that so much food that we throw out could be used, like, create soil, your own soil.
And I think that, all of us, I don't care if it's just one particular crop, one particular herb, but everybody should grow something.
Yeah.
Like, grow something. And if you compost, then you can easily do that. So, so I think that that's important. And I think that not only feeds, like, the earth, because you're giving back to the soil, you're creating soil, healthy soil. But then it's also nourishing yourself. And I think there's a strong correlation between cultural pride, healing, and your own sense of purpose when you grow something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I kind of like started growing things last summer in buckets, and it's not easy. I guess I thought that, because I guess I come from, I never growing up was really into like an environment. I was like an athlete. I played sports. I didn't care about.
Really?
Yeah, I was like the furthest
what
thing
sport?
from I played basketball. I ran cross country.
Okay.
All those type of things, but like basketball is the main thing. I played like year round, travel ball in the summertime, for
AAU?
varsity,
Okay.
AAU,
Okay.
all of that for like since I don't know middle school all the way up to I was a senior. So I didn't really care about anything else outside of that. But my mom and my grandma can grow anything, literally anything. Literally anything. She has no formal training. She just picked it up from her ancestors and talk about what her parents grew and like how they used to have a farm. So it's just like
so that is the training though, and I think we discount that. Like like to be born in that is an innate.
I was born in it, but I didn't.
I mean, your grandmother,
engage it.
your grandmother being on a farm that's uninterrupted lessons and training. Yeah.
Right. So it's like now I'm got to the age where I'm like trying to tap into that knowledge now that I'm older. And my grandma said something like, out of all of the 10th grade kids, she's like, you're the only one who picked up the plants.
Wow.
Because, we're the generation of phones. I had a phone when I was like 9. I had I was on a computer.
Where are you in the spectrum of grandchildren? Towards the baby end or
kind
of
ish, yeah. No, not the oldest. No, like maybe like the far end. I don't know where we are.
And the older ones didn't either. None of the older ones. Okay, so you are going to. I hate when people say break the cycle or break the chain, whatever. Yeah. So you're going to regenerate the cycle and get your you could do a cousin challenge, like, hey y'all, let's go do this and do it at grandma's house.
Yeah,
like
we're trying to get you know how family dynamics.
Come on, cousins, get it together.
Right, quit the beefing. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It'd be that type of
stuff.
But
do you all have land?
No, we don't have land.
Okay.
But it's always these stories of, way back when we used to have, back then we did. And I was like, well, what happened there? Like, I don't know. Nobody knows.
It's like my grandmother's parents they migrated here to Chicago in the 20s. My granny was like 2 years old. In 1922, they came. And they left land, and the land went to my great-grandfather's family, whatever land he had, in Oklahoma, Mississippi. So whatever land he had, it went to whoever is remaining there. Because, you hear who go what, Yeah. So you lose the rights to it or lose any kind of, rights to say this is my land or whatever. So it's really crazy that so much of what we did have, we no longer have. But it's not to say we never had it.
Right. Yeah. Because they said, people in my family was, we used to have land, but no, not anymore. And I think it's just various things of just like, I feel like just kind of like the pace of the culture in terms of like, everything is so easy now, or you can just get, why do I need to grow food when
Yeah,
there's
capitalism
Walmart?
has done a doozy on us. Capitalism has really perpetuated a lot of
Disconnection.
things that make us shun what is innate for us and what's best for us in order to trade it in for something of convenience. But convenience is not convenient, and convenience and comfort oftentimes the price you pay for you know, negating your own culture and your own value, and really being self-reliant. That's the price of it. So
yeah, sure.
when you talk about your grandmother and the lessons that she taught and her parents, who when you think about the ancestors, you think of someone, we talked about Hazel Johnson, who was here in Chicago, Algill Gardens, fighting against the environment, injustice there from the air pollution, the water, the poison in the soil. You know, she went all the way to the White House to fight against that. And the cancer that took her family members, and very many people in Algill Gardens dealing with cancer, blindness, and those sorts of things. Who would you say kind of guides your outlook and your vision for what's possible in environmental justice and eco justice overall?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like an individual person, but I think that I've always been connected to, I guess, like other cultures, especially like African cultures, indigenous, Native American cultures, and just kind of seeing like how they connect to the environment and how they, I guess, like design their lifestyle to be connected with the environment. So whether that's like permaculture systems that they're developing, where like everything is like in a circular system. So like waste and things that you produce are all in the same circle. So and just appreciation and reverence for land, and just kind of seeing a lot of everything in nature as like a living being. Even like a divine connected.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds sacred in the holding of it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that those kind of like concepts and like those ideas that come from my culture is kind of like what guides me more than like necessarily
a person.
People, yeah.
Okay, I can dig it. And what if you were to, like, somebody who has no idea about what environmental justice is, they've never thought about it, what books or what would you tell them to start? Like, what should they start doing just to make it, being more intentional to find out about it?
Yeah. I think honestly, the great way to start, even before books, is like just being more observant of your environment. Certain things that you don't like, whether that's like trash everywhere, air pollution, like we talked about, food deserts, transportation access. I would say that's a good way to start. Just examining, when this thing, this emergency happened, we were just like stranded with nothing to do, no plan B. So, even to one of my friends and mentors, she has the plant-based braiding hair. She has a company called Rebundle.
Really?
Yeah, and
okay,
she makes
talk to her.
She makes braiding hair out of bananas.
You'll be a guest, hopefully, on Movie on the Block. Yes.
She just did a documentary that
Really?
she's been showing around. So she had a showing at the Harper Theater.
So she's in Chicago?
She's in New York. She's based in New York.
Oh.
But she's from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, so what's her name?
Her name is Sierra May.
Sierra May. Shout out to you, Sierra May. Girls Like Me Project, my organization, will be in touch.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely want to screen that for our girls.
Yeah, because it really opened my eyes, because I guess I don't have like a horrible reaction to braiding hair, but it is itchy.
It's very itchy, and I always wonder, like, why is my scalp itching?
So the documentary going, she has scientists, she has it's very research backed.
Yes, like, Sierra May. Okay, I can't wait to meet you.
So yeah, like toxic products and what it's doing, like black hair care, all of that is a part of sustainability.
Yeah.
And she always fights it back against people always trying to say like, that's not climate, that's not sustainability, and she has all this research to say like, no, it is. Right?
It actually is.
Because she's taking the banana leaves of the banana peels are for lack of better words.
Mm-hmm.
Something from the banana, and which is a waste. And she's getting it from Kenya.
Repurposing it. Mm-hmm.
It's something that they take and they just throw out.
Now, is she? You said she's from Kansas City, but she travels to Kenya.
Yeah, and now she's gonna be based there for a few months. Just getting the supply chain together. She's trying to, ultimately
we
get
have
it.
got to talk. We've got to talk. So
Yeah.
here's another question for you too, right? So I heard you say like permaculture, identifying like waste, conserving more, conserving recycling, the hair products and toxic products, because even making your own cleaning products, using some good old-fashioned vinegar and lemon juice versus bleach, right? That's a way too. When you think of like the new technology and AI and that sort of thing, like I said, during our Day of the Girl for my organization, Girls Like Me Project and Chicago Day of the Girl, Aliyah facilitated a workshop, and you had them build a city, and you use technology for that. And there's a lot of pushback with AI. I think you and I may have talked a little bit about this.
Probably.
And I use AI, and I even created the theme song for this podcast using AI. And so there's some ethical things, there's some issues with water usage, a lot of things that environmentally we need to be aware of and more, more aware. So what would you say, is there space for AI in environmental justice, or is it all bad? No.
Oh, no, I don't think it's bad. I think that I was kind of listening to some folks talk about this the other day. I don't think technology in itself is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think the technology's use of it and the use of it and the impact of it is what is bad, right? Can be bad or have a negative effect. Let me not say bad, but can have a negative effect. So using technology, we've always essentially used technology, even for AI and all
we
that
are
stuff.
technology.
Right,
so.
Exactly. We are technology. We've always used it, especially with folks who have disabilities. Like, you need technology, right? I think with a lot of the data centers and things like that is like you mentioned, like the water usage, the amount of power that they would be extracted, and the pollution aspect of it, and just the fact that those things are occurring in low-income areas, because obviously it's easier to put whatever super plant grid there. This is cheap land. And they can kind of just do it like that. And then it's also too, when we think about technology, yes, technology, like I said, I think it's neutral. It's about the impact, but it's like there is still like a technology gap, especially in our community.
Yeah.
We don't have computers and laptops, and everybody mostly, who has Wi-Fi? You know, we don't know. So it's just like, I think everybody has a phone pretty much, but it's still like a technology gap.
Yeah.
And it's like, if these data centers are not being put in to ensure that this technology is being used, can be used for everybody, then it's going to be an inequality.
And if we are only consuming, as we mostly are oftentimes, right, with technology, we're never in a position. I shouldn't say never. And when I say we, that's speaking generally. So yes, I know there are many of us. My son is a person who he went to school for computer science. So I'm very aware that yes, you got to make these caveats for people.
Yeah.
So I'm very aware that we have people who are very much technologically advanced and have access, but we're talking about the masses of poor people, vulnerable people who don't have that access, who we saw with COVID, right? COVID could also be seen as an environmental catastrophe as well. We saw many people who couldn't get around, who couldn't get access to certain things, and also a lot of online learning or online remote work could not be completed by people.
Even applying for jobs.
Yeah.
You don't go in there and write
so,
paper anymore.
Yeah, so we need to be on the end of it where we are the creators and we are absolutely able to harness the power of it. And I think there's opportunity too for us to look at how things like wind, how to harness the wind and other things can be used, and we can start our own data centers and use the data centers for our own, liberation and the work that we need to do, and really assessing and some research around how we can survive this thing, because climate is real.
Right. I mean, people say like with the climate change, the earth is gonna be cool, but it's just like it's not gonna be suitable for us to live here.
No.
Like the earth is gonna be good. It's just like
us.
Will we be able to
No.
Breathe here? No.
Will we see it. Yeah. We see it. I mean, and then we also see the proliferation of disease and how that the air is like the air quality is
the food.
It's just crazy. And I think that you mentioned this earlier, and I was talking to my sisters and my nephews about this thing, but I want to challenge you and your family, my family and yours. I want to challenge us all to do two things. One of the things that Aliyah talked about, pick any one of them, whether it's growing your own food, doing composting, recycling, lessening the toxic materials that you use. So thinking about ways to make your own toothpaste, soap, cleaning detergent, cleaning out supplies, using black owned hair that's non-toxic. Yes. Shout out to Sierra Man, Rebundle again. Yep. Doing those things. But I'm going to challenge all of us to do this one thing. We saw it with Katrina. That was the biggest. I think that was the impetus for us to really even consider, slavery ending was the first time when we were dispersed and we couldn't find our relatives and people couldn't find their way back, and it took years to reconnect. If there was some really huge catastrophe where we had to be,
basically become refugees.
Yeah, refugees.
That's what happened.
How do we find our way to our family? And so I want us all to be thinking of this and to be mapping out, where's the first stop? Who gonna go get Big Mama? Where do we go from there? What's the end destination, and who's gonna be in control of housing? Getting our generator, really doing that.
Emergency preparedness.
Yeah, and then I'm serious. Yeah. I'm telling all of us to take it serious, because other communities are. They are preparing for the worst, and I think that we've been lulled, as you said before. This pacification with convenience and comfort. We are people, I'm speaking about Black people mostly, we are not, I'm a big person that reads a lot, literature, and looking at the ancestors, and I think about their eyes were watching God, which is a huge, Zora Neale Hurston, and she, even though it's not named environmental justice or, climate, she talked a lot about those things in her books. And a big nasty hurricane, and their eyes were watching God. Yeah. And one of the things that came out of that was, I didn't forget that's perimenopause again, y'all. But I think that it's important for us to look back and see the ways that we have to make it to each other and how we're gonna survive. And my point was, we don't see that the times that we're in now are very perilous. This is not a game. Yeah. Whether I'm not even talking about political, because that's horrible as well. Humans are being horrible people too. But what is happening with the earth is also, we should be very in tune to that. And our survival is really dependent on us knowing that. So.
No, I think that's important.
Do I sound like a doomsday kind of no, my God?
No, I think it's key, because I was thinking about Katrina, because last year was the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, I attended for my 50th anniversary. I mean, my 50th birthday. I spent time in New Orleans and was at the wall. They had a commemoration.
What is it, the Ninth Ward?
In the Ninth Ward, and it was really, really moving. I did a couple of interviews while I was there. It was very sobering.
So I was able to watch that documentary that they put out on the 20th anniversary. And I remember Hurricane Katrina when it kind of happened, but I was really young, maybe 5 years old. So you see it on TV, but I'm in Tennessee. We wasn't too impacted. And you just don't know, you know, when you're that young, what's going on. But watching that 20 years later and having people on there, my same age, who were literally going through like World
Oh,
War Z
yeah.
at 5 years old.
Katrina babies. Is that what
The
you said?
Katrina babies. And just like, wow. And, you know, just seeing that, I think like we were saying, we come lackadaisical, we come like, we think, oh, this will never happen to me. The government is going to take care of everything. And they just really showed on their documentary that the government didn't have a plan.
The government didn't even know what they were doing.
They didn't
right?
even know what to do. They didn't know how to get, all they knew was, well, let's get the guns out here and just control it, make sure they don't loot. They didn't know how to get aid down there. They didn't know, you know, so it's like, it's really key that we do have like emergency preparedness. You can't not depend on the government. So, yeah.
And shouts out to Paula Robinson here in Chicago, in Bronzeville. She's doing a great job of making sure that people, as many people as possible, understand like that preparedness thing. So, Aliyah, what's next for you? What is the next project, initiative? How can we support and follow?
Yeah, so a new project that I'm working on is an incubator.
Okay.
So it's essentially right now it'll be a HBCU climate justice incubator. Well, we're in the process of building it up. Like I'm starting a board right now. So the board will like design it and put it together. But the incubator will be a program that students can apply to if you attend a HBCU. So either that's undergrad, that's grad school. If you have like a climate solution that you want to implement on the campus, you can apply and you can get seed funding.
Wow.
You can get mentorship, project development support, like everything you need to just
Y'all
get your
see
project
why I
together.
love this girl, like how she just stole my heart of meeting her because, you know, people always say, are you Gen Z?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Gen Z. Yeah, y'all Gen Z. You know, that people always use the thing about young folks this and young folks that, and I'm always the first to lift up and to amplify and just, I'm in awe and I'm just, I just want to see you win. I want to see what you're doing, reach more young people your age. And not just your age, right? Because you inspire me and other people who are older who need to remember, right? Who need that reminder. And you can be the bridge to us reaching back to our in your case, great-great-grandparents, and the rest of us, our greats and our grands, into the ways that will sustain us and move us forward. So thank you for your brain.
No, I appreciate you. And I love the work that you do. Like being a part of the Data Girl was so cool. And it was good for me to like test out that workshop. And it was really opened my eyes. And I don't know if you still, if I know there was a videographer there. I don't know if he got the footage out, but he came and was like recording a little bit of the workshop. Then afterwards, he was like, did you create that? I said, I didn't create the software. I just created the workshop.
Well, it's the workshop and it was how to use it. To me, I mean, technology is one thing, but if you don't know how to use it or you don't properly, if you don't properly put it to use or have a purpose for it, it's null. But you had a purpose and you showed our girls. And so, he
said he was like, I was fully immersed. And I'm
we need to find out if Tori got it. I went into a deep hiatus mode right after that.
I don't blame you.
So
it was a lot of girls.
It was a lot. So, but this is our 15th year, Aliyah. So I want to talk to you more about what our work entails because you know that is a global day. It's International Day of the Girl, and we really want to focus and make sure our girls are connected to a global project, global sisterhood. And so people like yourself having your brain power and having your input and your ideas would be beneficial for us. So I would love that. Y'all, this is Aliyah Collins, somebody you should know. Aliyah, how can they follow you and all of that good stuff?
I'm on Instagram. My Instagram handle is ASCollins_. But I am more like, I guess, like under the bed, you know. I don't know. The social media is.
But your organization has a page too where they can follow.
The EcoHealing Project. Yep.
And is the EcoHealing leading the initiative you just mentioned about? Okay, so that's even better. So then follow EcoHealing. Is it eco underscore or is it all just one word?
EcoHealing Project.
EcoHealing Project. EcoHealing Project. all one word, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Aliyah Collins on LinkedIn. A.S. Collins
Yeah.
on Instagram. I'm so honored.
No,
Thank
thank you. This is
Absolutely.
so cute. I
Y'all,
love
if y'all just, we should have had behind the scenes.
it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's working. Well, it was good. It was a
But
good brain workout.
yes, it
'cause
was.
We was
It
reading
was.
and thinking.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna say thank you for coming and bid you
Thank you.
farewell.
I appreciate
and
it.
see you
Yes.
next time.
Oh yeah.